We got a lot of silly season news to talk about. COTA gets a new layout for the NASCAR Cup Series next year, and we have a major update on the 2311 and Front Row lawsuit. Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Jet. Welcome back to episode of Inside the Lines, part 2 of this video. This is going to come out late tonight, so yeah, hope you're all having a wonderful late night day for y'all. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, more silly season news here in NASCAR. Let's not waste any time and jump right into it. We're going to first start off though with Circuit of the Americas. It has been part of the NASCAR calendar since 2021, and we have been using the full layout, the same layout that F1 has ran. Well, for 2025, we're going to get a bit of a facelift, or not really a facelift, but a new national course layout. So instead of the full course layout, basically after turn number 6, we'll make a quick left-hander that cuts to turn 12 and back to the start finish line. According to early NASCAR simulations, it would shave off about a minute off of lap times, and the race distance will be extended from 68 to 100 laps to the now 2.3 mile 20 turn national course. Now there are some positives and negatives about this. First off, number 1, more of the race will be seen by the fans. Number 2, if we do get a caution, the caution laps won't take as long as they have been in years past. And it will be a lot quicker, and there will be more laps for race fans. So that part is good. The bad part about that is that there will be the loss of 2 passing zones, and we know that the next gen car on road course, especially at a track like COTA, is going to be very difficult to do. So the loss of those 2 passing zones, that hard, left-hander, that, 90-degree left-hander that leads into that very long straightaway, has made some very great passing opportunities that lets them to show some exciting racing. So I'm very disappointed to see that go. But I'm open to it. I don't know, like this, it could be good. Who knows? I mean, it could be good. Again, there are some positives you could take from this, but there's also some negatives. Ultimately, I'm open to this, and I'm excited to see what this could bring for the Cup Series and Xfinity Series that goes to COTA next March. Next up, RCR. They were making some big changes after their god-awful 2024 and 2023, if you include Austin Dillon's season. Made a lot of changes. First up, Richard Boswell, who was the crew chief for Chase Briscoe last year, he now becomes the crew chief for Austin Dillon, replacing Justin Alexander. It's not clear at the moment what Alexander's role would be for 2025. Randall Burnett will continue to be the crew chief for Kyle Busch for 2025, so that does not change. Now, Keith Rodden was the crew chief for Austin Dillon before he was replaced by Justin Alexander. So this is Austin Dillon's 3rd crew chief in a short period of time, which, I don't know. I think if you're going through that many crew chiefs, maybe you have to start looking at the driver, not so much the crew chief, but anyways. And John Klausmeier, who was a crew chief for Chase Briscoe, I think in 2022 at SHR, was in the vehicle company performance group at that team before it shut down after this year, and is now RCR's technical director. Obviously, they're making all of these big changes at the team to try and improve what was arguably RCR's worst season in a long time. I can't recall a time where RCR was this bad overall. I mean, Kyle Busch not even making the playoffs, and yes, Austin Dillon won a race, but again, had to kill Logano and Hamlin to do so, even though he should have won that race regardless. But anyways, definitely need some major changes up at the top. Will it work for 2025? I don't think so. I just don't see how it could work. I think there's just something fundamentally wrong with RCR. I would equivalent it kind of to maybe Roush Fenway Racing in the early to mid 2010s when they were starting to fall off pace. I see something similar like that happening with RCR. I think it's going to take some major executive changes in order to see something happen with the team. Speaking of RCR, former RCR driver Daniel Hemric, we do know the deal that he will not return to Kaulig Racing for 2025, was replaced by AJ Allmendinger and Ty Dillon, who is joining the team for 2025 in the Cup Series. So we do know that he's out of a ride. It has been announced that Daniel Hemric would return for the first time since 2016 to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, driving the number 19 truck that was previously occupied by Christian Eckes, who's moving up to the Xfinity Series next year. Now, 2024 was an unreal year for Christian Eckes. I'm pretty sure he finished in the top 10 in all but one race. That was back at Atlanta, won plenty of races, made the championship for, unfortunately wasn't able to get the job done, but an incredible season for that number 19 truck and specifically Christian Eckes. So we do know that that truck is capable of winning races and contending for championships. With Daniel Hemric being Xfinity Series champion, winning only one race, and that was the one where he had to win the title at Phoenix back in, I think, 2021, if I'm not mistaken. So, Daniel Hemric has experience. even though it's very little experience at winning in any of NASCAR's national divisions. So I hope he does well, and I think he will do well. I don't think he is Cup ready, but he was really good in the Xfinity Series, and he was really good also in trucks when he drove for Brad Keselowski Racing for that period of time. So I feel like that this would be a good move for Daniel Hemric and that team, and I feel like he's going to do well in that truck for 2025. And finally, 2311 and Front Row Motorsports. Now, we have been documenting this lawsuit since the very beginning. Well, now a big bombshell at the moment. 2311 and Front Row have decided to drop their appeal from their lawsuit with NASCAR in terms of the preliminary injunction. We know that the judge denied 2311 and Front Row their preliminary injunction to continue the lawsuit as charter teams. And there are multiple reasons as to why they dropped the appeal. We're going to get into that. Now, this was first reported by Bob Pockrass, where he writes that, quote, according to a court filing, circumstances have changed in the underlying case, removing the need for this appeal and necessitating appellants to seek new relief from the district court. So this could mean multiple things. This could mean probably that 2311 Front Row realized, okay, we've made some mistakes. Let's refile, let's readjust, let's, get everything back together and refile this preliminary injunction, this time at a district court instead, or a different court, different judge. And if the circumstances change where irreparable harm is more concrete than speculative, where in this lawsuit, or at least the current lawsuit that we were documenting, it was always under a speculative wording that, hey, we could lose sponsors, we could lose drivers. It was never anything concrete. So it looks as though that they could be refiling this so that if it's more concrete, they can have a better stance at being granted their preliminary injunction hearing. Or this could have something to do with the Riley Herbst announcement. Now, I didn't talk about this in the last episode, but I feel like it was very interesting. It's like, listen, you're talking about, hey, we go back to that speculative saying of irreparable harm where, hey, we could lose teams, we could lose this. Yet here you are expanding to a third team, having Riley Herbst. Granted, Riley Herbst and the terrible Herbst private, that gas company is going to take care of everything, basically. That's the only reason why Herbst is even in that 35 rides, because of, his family's money. But it is very interesting to then have this, listen, we need this or else we're not going, we could fold or bad things can happen, yet you are expanding. Or this could possibly be, maybe they've reached a settlement. Maybe NASCAR and the teams have reached a settlement where it's like, okay, we will settle things behind closed doors and we'll drop the appeal and just let bygones be bygones. That, and I think with NASCAR removing that lawsuit release clause from that open agreement, on top of that, with the Riley Herbst announcement, again, things are changing the background where it could maybe more than likely lean into the direction of a settlement rather than maybe refiling and doing it again at a later time. Again, to me, it's weird to be doing this, when you're going all out. You have this appeal. You want to be able to get back into this. You want to get this preliminary injunction hearing. And with NASCAR moving this lawsuit, and then not too long after, you then are able to announce that, hey, Riley Herbst opening up as a third car team. And then the day after, you then withdraw your appeal, your expedited, appeal and all that stuff. To me, it looks like it's leaning more into the direction where we could see a settlement take place between the two parties. But if I'm being more realistic in the sense, I feel like this more than likely will be a 2311 and Front Row retracting and be like, okay, right now at the moment, we're expanding, we're having a third team, we're saying that we're going to race regardless, chartered or open. It would make more sense, let's retract this and actually show that if there is any irreparable harm done to both teams, then it justifies refiling their claim at a much later date when there is more concrete evidence of irreparable harm rather than more speculative harm. But again, this is all just speculation as of right now. We're for sure going to get more details as we get more into the offseason. We're going to get a lot more information before the season begins in 2025 at Bowman Gray Stadium. But yeah, as of right now, the lawsuit between 2311 Front Row on NASCAR at this time is done. For the moment, done. But obviously things could change at a later date.
You can't tell me now about time. Do you know how many lines I done put down? Vibes I done sent out, but we ain't here to dig. I'll up the market till they come red carpet the kids. Success still the target, soon I'll be crossing that bridge. But can't bring everybody with me, family only. I got some people think I owe a favor, barely know me. That's why my focus on the road, it's all I know. I see